We're frozen. We're frozen.
Why are we frozen? It's BitBoy ain't the only one not going live today.
It's only my camera.
Oh, you only get your camera.
Hey, Rocco.
It's the Rocco show today.
Hey guys, how are you? Welcome.
Can I get a hola? Can I get a hola from you?
My mic, okay, guys. Now you can hear me. All right. So just give me a second. I'm gonna try to fix everything. I'm gonna have a Rob right here talk to you. In the meantime,
Robin. Say hello to everyone, Robin.
Hola! It's your boy Big Rob back in the house. Sorry, we launched the stream today. Everything seemed to be fine, but apparently we're having some camera issues here. So, without further ado, let's. It's the cameras there aren't refreshing.
Guys, you are watching History in the Making. We're giving you a rundown on how to fix streaming.
Yeah. Blue. How's everybody doing today?
Good,
So,
man. Thanks for asking, bro.
Oh, we can hear David though. Yeah, I think if you're new here and wondering what's going on, we're having technical difficulties, but we will talk here in a little bit. I just picked deck one. Just try one, yeah.
Guys, if you bought a Trump NFT, put a 1 in the chat. 10% creator fees. We're going to talk about the Trump NFTs. We're going to talk about that whole.
Oh, you can show your laptop.
I can?
Yeah, just go through your laptop, narrate, and then we'll get this thing going.
Okay. All right. So we're going to bring Forrest on today. But here is on OpenSea. Okay. A couple things I noticed. The first thing I noticed is 10% creator fees, which is extremely high. The highest I had seen prior to this, me personally, not saying that higher doesn't exist, but was 7.5%. Average is anywhere between 2.5% to 5%. 10% creator fees, which means just off of secondary market sales, Donald Trump's wallet, whoever controls a creator wallet, got an extra 143 Ethereum in it. They are going for 0.18 ETH right now. Which if you minted them at, Kyla, what's 0.18 times 1,200? If you minted these were $100, and if you're still holding one, it is now worth $216. You could have 2.2x your money on the Donald Trump cards. Our man Forrest, who will be joining us here in approximately, who knows when we get the stream ready, but he minted a bunch of them. He actually did a Twitter thread. And actually, while we wait for Forrest to come, why don't we kind of highlight his Twitter thread here? So, by the way, if you're not familiar with Forrest, he is a friend of the channel. He joins us every single Friday. Former head of research at Token Metrics, has his own crypto channel where he does TA 7 days a week. Very active on Twitter also. So go follow him at 0xstacker. So he said, for anyone wondering why I aped so hard in to collect Trump today, here are 5 reasons. And to be clear, this isn't political for me. The goal is to make money. He said, 1, extreme reach. Donald Trump has absurdly massive reach. Literally everything he does makes its round in the media. This is true. The dude isn't even on Twitter anymore and has 88 million followers. Number 2, valuation. 45,000 max supply times $99 each equals $4.45 million of valuation at mint. Pretty reasonable for a mint and way lower than most NFT projects of any notoriety at the moment, despite the bear market. Typically, we're seeing 0.08 to 0.1 ETH mints, which puts us roughly at about between $100 and $120 at $1,200. Obviously, when ETH was closer to 2, 3, 4K, that was $700 mints per. This is only $100, and we'll talk to Forrest about the process of minting these. But I read somewhere that are we not showing the laptop? Oh, we are? Okay. Why don't we, here, I'm going to pop the laptop back up so I can talk over this. So, so I read somewhere that all you needed was an email address and 99 USD. And that's it. Then he references Invisible Friends, Sappy Seals, Gary V's. Number 3, non-crypto capital injections. In 2 words, new money. In a bear market, crypto and NFTs become a cesspool of the same money swirling around. This is pretty funny. And then he goes on to say, number 4, arrogance. You seriously think Trump isn't going to pump these things hard as he's campaigning? That is a great point. And then 5, the man moves products. In 2019, he had already sold $45 million in MAGA hats. Trump NFTs are digital MAGA hats. That's an interesting take. And we'll kind of get Forrest's in-depth take on this when he joins our show here in a little bit. But Rob, did you collect any NFT, Donald Trump NFTs?
I didn't.
Oh, your mic is down. We need to bring Rob's volume out. Oh, your volume.
That's David's. There we go.
Cool.
All right. Yeah, I do not own any. Trump NFTs. Am I missing out? Should I FOMO in?
We should ask Forrest.
Should I YOLO into this?
Did
thing?
you think about it actually?
$99. Yeah, I actually did think about it.
Me too.
My only thing is the circulating supply is at 45,000. So I think that's
pretty high.
Yeah, especially.
But here's the thing though. This is collection number 1. So I wonder how many more collections there's going to be. Yeah.
Do we need more than one?
I mean, no.
Did you ask the chat if they're buying any?
I asked, but I didn't get a chance.
What was the one?
What
did they put one in the chat for?
One was if they bought one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. What did a lot of people say? One. We had a few ones. Derek bought one. XR Paralyze.
Derek bought 4.
Mushroom. Derek bought 4. Bullish Kenny G said no, thank you.
I want to know which ones you bought, man. Do you have? It's on OpenSea, right?
It's on OpenSea. Give us a number if you have one. Give us the number, and we'll look it up, and we'll highlight your NFT for everyone to see. I want to kick things off. By the way, I'm David. That's Robin. We come to you live Monday through Friday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah,
our
cameras weren't working here when we first launched, so
yes,
our apologies. It's all back and up and running now. So
that's right, baby. I want to kick this thing off. CZ from Binance getting a lot of heat, a lot of FUD around there. Some things I'm seeing, I'm like, what are they doing? One guy tweeted CZ talking about I forget, it was something about they attacked Coinbase and KuCoin. I was like, he did not. Like, people are twisting his words, but of course there is some things to be concerned about. He went on CNBC and he called Kevin O'Leary a liar. Said, it's convenient for him to remember a transaction from 2 years ago, but doesn't remember the important things. And so Kevin fired back in a CNBC interview, I believe it was today. And so we're going to go to it and we're going to show you what Mr. O'Leary had to say.
Now, let me address something before we go any further. Yesterday on the air, CZ called me a liar. That suggests that I perjured myself in front of the U.S. Senate for 2 hours this week. I can assure you that is not the case. Another little parable here you should understand. When I was young, my birth father, who's Irish, put me on his knee, and every Irishman will know this, and he said, son, never call an Irishman a liar unless you know with certainty that's true. And I said, why is that, Dad? He said, because the Irish are crazy. Now, I don't know what it meant back then, but I got to tell you, I'm not happy about that. So at the end of the day, I have no ill will to this guy, but he's part of the story too. And you found out yesterday, you did a little work with Squawk Box. We talked about it either being $2 billion or $3 billion, that transaction. That's the largest transaction, I think, of anything in there regarding the balance sheet in recent 24-month period. And he confirmed it was $2.1 billion. And then he confirmed that he still had $550 million, $500 million of FTT tokens. Now, at some point, we're going to look at that week of November 6th, and you ask anybody, why was Sam Bankman-Fried or the whole company FTX forced into bankruptcy? It was jamming down that last $500 million that gave them no option. Now, is that the fatal stroke or blow to get rid of your global competitor? I say yes. And I'll tell you something else. Right after that interview, I got a phone call, or actually it was a text, from a lobbyist in Washington saying, don't go anywhere, you're coming back. So I bet CZ bought himself an invitation to Washington yesterday. Can't wait to meet him there. We can go sightseeing.
Kevin, I suspect you might be right on that front. The only thing I'd say, even if that's the case, even if what he did led to the uncovering of what we now suspect, what's now been alleged in these documents or these complaints from the SEC and a criminal complaint too, I mean, the criminal complaint doesn't get into that as much as it gets into the idea that this was a fraud underneath it anyway. So if CZ did bring down the demise of this and let us see what was there, maybe all he did was sweep the tide out and we saw that SBF was swimming around naked. I mean, that may be the bigger issue here, that if he did do it, maybe it was a favor to everybody if it unveiled a Ponzi scheme that might have still been going on otherwise.
Well, remember, he was trying to buy the business at that time. On Wednesday, the idea was he was going to buy it.
Was he doing that just to throw more shade at him? I don't know.
Well, we don't know, but obviously if he thought there was fraud, he wouldn't have made an offer to buy it. So nobody knew, including, remember, this guy's a huge shareholder of FTX, or he was, and so he didn't see the fraud either. So at the end of the day, the question becomes clawback. You've been talking about it for the last 2 days. Is that 2.1 billion Madoff-style clawback? Who knows? But if I get on that credit committee, I'll be one of the guys doing the clawing. So I'm looking forward to that because I think at the end of the day, every shareholder and account holder has to have an answer to what happened here. I normally would have written this off like the other 8 venture investments, but not this one. I'm staying on this one right to the end. I'm going to teach this course at Harvard one day in my guest lecturing. This is going to be a case. This will be a chestnut. This is an
Okay, so he's teaching a course at Harvard. This is going to be a case. What are your thoughts, Rob? Call CZ a liar. Says I'm Irish. Don't mess with me. Like,
What does Irish have to do with anything?
I don't know. In all seriousness, though, this feud between CZ, Kevin, do you think Kevin was right in his testimony, which we covered yesterday, pretty much blaming CZ on Binance for putting FTX under, and that they wanted to do it so they can create a monopoly? Are you buying into that narrative?
As weird as it sounds, I think that Kevin O'Leary and Sam Bankman-Fried are just really good friends, and he believes anything he says. And Sam Bankman-Fried has painted this picture that CZ was 100% behind the collapse, and I think Kevin believes him. They've hung out, they've went to dinner, they've known each other for like 3 years. They're buddy. And when you interview Kevin O'Leary, he's said it over and over again that, hey, I believe him, I'd invest in him again, we're friends, things of that nature. So I just think he takes his word. I think he takes Sam Bankman-Fried, SBF's word, and SBF's word right now, at least to Kevin O'Leary from what he's saying, is that, hey, it's CZ's fault.
But Robin, why in the world? Okay, if you got to be dumb or blinded to not figure out that Sam was doing illegal things. He was using customer funds. Even knowing that, he's still believing everything Sam is saying. Like, are you really buying that? No, it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it?
It does. Here's the thing. Have you ever had a friend or a family member that was genuinely a good person, or they were a smart person, or smart, they had like a good job, whatever. They got themselves straightened out, right? They're somebody you can look up to, you can hang out with, go to barbecues with, whatever. However, they keep bad company. And you're like, why do you hang out with this guy? Why do you hang out with this chick? Why are you hanging, why don't you just cut yourself off from those friends? Everybody has those people. And I feel the same way with Kevin O'Leary. Like, he's an established businessman. He knows what he's doing. He's built an empire. He's crypto savvy. But yet he keeps company with someone that is a thief, a fraud, Sam Bankman-Fried. And he listens to what he says for whatever reason. And I want to grab Kevin O'Leary and just grab him by his bald head and just shake him and be like, hey, Like, stop. Leave Sam alone, man. The dude is bad for you. He's ruining your image, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I think is happening. And I think for whatever reason, his friendship or business friendship, whatever it is blinding him from seeing what is actually going on, and that FTX was essentially a cesspool of undocumented money moving around, everybody buying stuff, billions of dollars coming in, billions of dollars spent that that didn't belong to them. You had all kinds of printing of money. It was built on a crap foundation, and everybody was making money through the bull run. And then as things started collapsing, they started printing more stuff. They started buying up assets and stealing from other people. And eventually it came to light. CZ saw it. He blew the whistle. The whole thing burnt down. And yes, maybe the very final catalyst was CZ selling his FTT token or announcing it. But that thing was crumbling anyways. But
So you're changing your tune from yesterday?
No. It was crumbling anyways. However, there is truth to Sam Bankman-Fried saying, and Kevin O'Leary saying, that they went out of business because of CZ. CZ is the one. He saw him injured. They were like stumbling around. You've seen the little video games where like finish him. He's like, and you put him out of the misery, bro. You know what I'm saying?
All right, you guys know my take. You know Robin's take. I want to get our friend Forrest's take. So let's go ahead and bring him on. Forrest,
What's up, guys?
what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Yo.
Pretty good. Hanging in there.
Awesome, man.
Pretty
Well,
wild
thank you so much for joining us on another Friday. We love having you here, guys. Welcome, Forrest. If you're a member of the channel, throw the Forrest emoji in the chat. Show him you love him, because we love him here. Forrest, Robin thinks this whole thing, right? Kevin O'Leary going in front of Congress talking about CZ put Sam out of business. Now he has a monopoly. Robin thinks that's true. It was CZ's fault they went out. I think it's not. What's your take?
More
Where do you land
importantly,
on this?
did you like my analogy where CZ put the finishing move down on Sam
Kombat.
Bankman-Fried? Like,
Yeah. No, I like.
because your boy right here, like
So stupid.
the CZ over here on the right, and then you got Sam Bankman-Fried on the left. So just
Oh, God.
you can pull that away, Rocco.
Please, Forrest, go ahead. Please.
Yeah. So, like, at the end of the day, I think CZ, like, it's exactly that. All he like it's like in Napoleon Dynamite when the farmer shoots the cow, puts it out of its misery. Like the cow was already dying. This thing was a writhing, and like it was like FTX was going to go under, and I think CZ probably did the space a favor in the long run, although it does not feel like it right now.
Thank you.
It ripped the Band-Aid off, and this thing could have gotten so much worse if FTX would have been allowed to continue to move forward, especially with not only just like all the shady stuff they were doing, but the regulation that they were pushing for. If they would have been able to push through regulation, that would have been counterproductive to decentralization. I think it would have been really, really bad. Look, I don't think CZ's should be. I don't think there should be any type of a clawback whatsoever. It's a free market. If he owns FTT, he can sell as much of it as he wants. He could dump. As far as I'm concerned, any token that you own that you are not legally bound to like some sort of vesting contract, if you own it outright and you want to sell it, you can sell it. Elon Musk just sold a bunch of Tesla over the last couple of months. If Tesla goes out of business, is it because Elon Musk sold a bunch of Tesla stock? I don't think so. If Tesla goes out of business, it's because they can't sell enough cars and they don't have a good business model, or they're financially irresponsible in some way or another. Like
That's a great analogy for us.
Yeah, it's like, look, if everyone just starts bailing on Tesla and selling Tesla stock, and then Tesla goes out of business, like, it's not because people were selling Tesla stock. If the stock had any value, buyers are going to come in, and if the business model is good, buyers are going to come in and pump the stock price back up. It just so happens that the FTX was engaging in fraud, and the FTT token was absolute trash. and no one wants to touch it with a 10-foot pole if there's fraud going on. So yeah, I don't have any hard feelings against CZ for dumping that FTT out of. I'd like to think I'd do the same thing in that situation.
A lot of people are saying, Robin brought this up yesterday too, like, all right, typically trades of that magnitude, you kind of reach out to the counterparty and you do an OTC trade. He went full public and said, hey, we're dumping this thing. And so
yeah, it's obvious that he was being
malicious. That's what
malicious.
he's saying.
Yeah, 100%. He had to been, because here's the thing: you would never sell $500 million, $500 million of a token. Especially when it's such a big part of the supply. You know what I mean? The market cap for FTT was in was in the like 6 billion or something. Anyways, it's less than $10 billion, and you're selling $500 million is such a large amount of the market cap. You're dumping on the market. You would never, in a rational business decision, announce on Twitter that you're going to sell this amount of tokens, because as soon as you do that, first of all, the news or the press is going to drive down the price, which is going to devalue the tokens you have on hand that you're trying to sell. And not to mention the sell pressure, if you're selling it on the order books, are literally going to clear the order books out. There's not enough liquidity for that. Not to stabilize the price at where it was when he announces it. So it's a no-brainer to sell the tokens at over the counter for whatever price you want to.
And to be fair, he would have probably gotten he would have gotten at $22 and he would have
he
made
would
more
have
money.
Even if they would have.
So he took an L by doing what he did.
Yeah, he had already written that off as a loss. That the cost of those tokens he had written off as going to zero, because he understood by dumping it was going to cascade the price, clear the order books, and even if they didn't go under, even if they didn't have fraudulent practices, the price of the token would have probably dropped down after clearing order books by at least 30% minimum, if not 40, 50 or more.
Yeah, I see it both ways though, because in a way he did allow the open market to front run him a little bit. And had he done some backdoor deal, OTC deal without announcing it, I think the market would have been super mad. Like, oh, you sold your FTT, you dumped all this FTT on us, and you left us holding the bag. You had information that we didn't have, or something along those lines. I think the market would be in obviously it's definitely served his purpose to basically drop the axe on the neck of FTX at the same time, but I think the way the market reacted to it is, either way, the market's going to be pissed off a little bit. Regardless of if he would have given the heads up like he did or not. If he wouldn't have given that heads up, I think the market would have said, "Oh, like you should have given us a heads up. This was kind of shady. You went and dumped knowing this was gonna drop the hammer on the market. That's a little bit shady." So I think I see it both ways. I think it was a situation where CZ actually couldn't win for losing. Like either he was going to take a big hit and do things on the up and up and announce it and crash the whole market, or he was going to do it OTC behind the scenes and FTX was still going to go out of business more than likely, and people would be upset that he dumped on them.
That's an interesting narrative. Everyone's always, like you said, he does it OTC, like, yo, what the hell, man, you left us holding the bag of nothing, assuming that people would have found out and some would have happened. But that's an interesting take. I want to pivot to Donald Trump. Before we get into, so we did show your Twitter thread while we're having some technical difficulties on our end, but I want to go over this article here from The Block. Donald Trump NFT collection sells out within hours. A 45,000 item NFT trading card collection created by former U.S. President Donald Trump sold out within hours and has already racked up more than 648 ETH, or about $785,000 in trading volume due to creator fees. The initial mint price was set at $99. Buying 45 or more NFTs would, quote, guarantee purchasers an invite to a gala dinner with Donald Trump in South Florida. Currently, 34 wallets hold 100 or more items from the collection. Forrest, you've been vocal about buying it yourself. Are you one of the 34 wallets that holds 100 Donald Trump trading cards?
I'm sorry, I missed that last part. You cut out. Am I one of the wallets?
Yeah, in the article it says 34 wallets hold at least 100. Are you one of those 34 wallets?
No. So total, I minted 69, just for the good luck,
For the clicks,
and then
the memes.
yesterday, yeah, for the memes, and I sold a few over mint price yesterday, and before the mint actually minted out, I actually rolled those funds into minting like 9 more. So in total, I was in for $6.9 thousand, and I minted a total of 78. And today I've gotten, the floor price popped off this morning a little bit. I sold probably close to 50, and I've gotten my entire initial investment out plus 1,500 or so, and then I'm free rolling like 25 to 30 NFTs. So not a bad trade, especially if these things pop off. I've got 25 to 30 that I can sell at higher prices if they keep going. But
You had
this was
go
ahead.
for us. No, please.
I was just saying it made a lot of sense to me yesterday. I think a lot of people, especially like the broader crypto and NFT ecosystem, were like, "Oh, we don't want Trump moving into our NFT space." And I think there was like emotional decisions being made for people to not mint. But if you just ran the numbers and looked at it objectively and apolitically, it made a lot of sense. I couldn't imagine this thing not doing a couple multiples over mint price, at least temporarily, and giving an opportunity to get out and profit. So I think it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously looking now, and you mentioned, I believe you tweeted this or someone did, that all you had to do was have an email and you could pay in dollars, right? Or how was that process, and how was it compared to any other NFTs you've minted?
Yeah, so the mint process was actually super well done. I know there's a few hiccups. I think a few people had like trouble minting. It was on Polygon, so like you had to bridge your funds over to Polygon and make sure you had enough Ethereum to mint. But it was really well orchestrated. And the one thing that they had was like, oh, you can go to this gala dinner if you hold 45. So immediately you have this threshold, this goal, this target for people to mint or hold 45 or more, which is really, really good for floor price. But yeah, all you needed was a debit card, $99, and an email address. And you could mint without actually having a MetaMask address, which made it so that, literally anybody that does not have Web3 experience could mint. And then once you actually fill out your email address, you get emailed like a link where then you can have it moved into an actual MetaMask address, so you can figure out MetaMask on the back end at a later date. So they allowed you to mint first, which to me was big because it allowed new capital to come in. It allowed people that have never bought an NFT before to just go and do their KYC, have a debit card, mint directly to their email address, and be done with it. And that's a pattern that we consistently have seen. Whenever a crypto protocol or a crypto game, or like STEPN's a really good example. Like a lot of people got their parents into STEPN because it was moved to earn, it was healthy. We saw this big capital injection, and then everything mooned, and is a really good opportunity to make some money. So I thought the mint process was excellent.
What you're saying is that Donald J. Trump is innovating the NFT space, and he's changing stuff, and he is the front leader. He is the new, not only the leader of a free America, but he is also the leader of the NFT space and movement. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely not him. It's definitely the company that is like licensing his brand or image or whatever. Like, I think they have some sort of, it's how you'd expect it to be. Like Donald Trump is licensing his brand and image, probably keeping a large portion of the profits. And then this company that specializes in NFTs and tech has figured out a way to orchestrate this minting process. But yeah, it's very innovative mint. And I'd actually be surprised if we did not see more mints executed in the future with that like debit card, email address combo, because it just made it so much easier. Opened it up to off-chain people, essentially. Like it took the NFT minting process off-chain for people that have never been on-chain.
So you mint it through your email address, and then like, do you know what happened? Like, do they hold the NFT until you give them a MetaMask address, or what if you never create a MetaMask address? Like, do they hold it for you somewhere?
I minted directly through MetaMask because you had that option as well. So I minted typically the way you typically mint an NFT project. But I believe what they do is they just mint it to like a brand new Ethereum address. And they send you an email with some sort of claims process. I think some sort of code that allows you to claim that, type it in somewhere and claim it to your MetaMask address at a later date. So I think you can just, put in a code somewhere or connect your MetaMask address and it sends it to you once you have already set that up. So it's really nice to not have to people can buy it with a debit card rather than having to buy it with crypto and then just send it to their MetaMask after the fact.
Right. I agree with you, man. I think that's something we're going to see more of moving forward. Now, in your Discord, did you post this? I know you have a whole segment on Nansen and NFT analytics. Is this something you posted to your Discord members? Hey, guys, I think this is a good play. I'm getting ready to mint it.
Yeah, I posted a little bit about it in the mastermind group and kind of gave my thesis a little bit. I posted more about it on Twitter. I was pretty open about it on Twitter. So again, like I with the Discord, I try not to say hey, this is a signal, this is a play. If I have a thesis around something, I'm pretty open about that on all fronts. Yes, I the Discord's a great place for that discussion to occur, but I always try to be very careful about not trying to present it as a signal because obviously there's risk involved. I minted $6,900 of Donald Trump images, Donald Trump pictures. It's insane. There was absolutely risk there. So I never I just present my analysis and my thesis, and I never like to try to encourage anybody to follow along with me. But it just, so happens that, a lot of people, might see it the same way as me and decide to make their own decision. But we talked about it a little bit on Discord in the mastermind group and kind of gave my thoughts and reasons as to why I thought it was a good play.
I want to say
real quick, hold on.
Okay,
and if you guys want access to Forrest's, any of Crypto Stacker's products, including the Discord group, there is an affiliate link in the description of this video. You'll be supporting Sin City Crypto, and you'll be supporting Forrest as well.
My favorite part of all of this mint, though, has to be the amazing commercial. And if you guys haven't seen the commercial,
did you see the commercial, Forrest?
I have. Yeah, it's hilarious. I mean, it's like he's reading off a prompt. But
it's so cheesy. It's like one of those 1980s infomercials, like he's selling a toaster oven or something. All right, here we go.
Hello, everyone. This is Donald Trump. Hopefully, your favorite president of all time, better than Lincoln, better than Washington, with an important announcement to make. They're called Trump Digital Trading Cards. These cards feature some of the really incredible artwork pertaining to my life and my career. It's been very exciting.
I want to know what audio engineer came up with.
I'm also doing Zoom calls, a one-on-one meeting, autographing memorabilia, and so much more. We're doing a lot right now. And remember, Christmas is coming, and this makes a great Christmas gift.
Great. I cannot wait to gift one of these.
Listen, Robin, I want to ask you this question. No, this is a serious question. Can we see more candidates, whether it's for the presidency or Senate or House, kind of do this as a way to raise money and image? I mean, it's an intriguing. $4.5 million.
I was gonna say no. Oh, wait, you know what?
What do you think,
honestly, yeah. I think it's bigger call to very high profile celebrities. Okay. And so I know there's been a stain with Kim Kardashian when it comes to promoting tokens, but I think if people have their own NFT line, and we did see celebrities getting into it, but there was a lack of marketing. It was just hey, they put it on their social media. I got an NFT line. I think we're going to see more of this combo where you're going to be watching TV and next thing you know, you have the Donald J. Trump commercial where they have the NFT line there. on the commercial. In the same way that you have the commemorative coins back in the day, commercials with presidents. Here you have the commemorative trading cards. I think it's just a newer version of what was already something in marketing for politicians and celebrity figures all alike. So,
What are your thoughts, Forrest?
Yeah, like I think it's going to be difficult for other politicians to replicate the success that Donald Trump has had with this. Like, all right, imagine, and I'm not trying to get political here, but like the kind of like caricature personality and following that Donald Trump has, I get that a lot of people hate Donald Trump, and the opposite of that is true as well. Like, a lot of people love Donald Trump. And again, not getting political here, but if they dropped the Joe Biden NFT, that dude's not selling more than a couple thousand. Like, there's nobody that is just like, no
Pictures of him smelling kids' hairs and stuff.
Right. Yeah, it's like, look, like Donald Trump has diehard fans. Like in that Twitter thread, I think you showed the guy with the truck that should just decked out. Like, that dude bought 15 NFTs minimum. That dude dropped $1,500. He might have sold one of his AR-15s to afford like some of these NFTs. Like Joe Biden doesn't have that level of like people that are just diehard Joe Biden fans. Like, if you want to move product and you want to move merch, you want to move NFTs, and you want to have a successful NFT, like, you've got to be that guy that, like, Elon Musk could drop an NFT line and it would sell out tomorrow. But like these average politicians, like, not average, but you know what I mean? Like these politicians that aren't like,
don't have the personality or the media, the image, right?
Yeah, you got to have the X factor if you want to move product.
I agree, and you noted that in your Twitter thread as well. I want to show an NFT from one of our community members. This is from Rob, not Robin, but Rob from our community. Trump number 29533. It is Donald Trump hunting with his hunting dog, and it looks like he failed. Looks like he failed in hunting birds because they're both flying in the background. You know, this is, I think it's interesting. Like Forrest mentioned, the way the mint happened, just an email address and US dollars, credit card, debit card. I'm telling you guys, we always talk about, we want retail money to come in. We want mainstream retail money to come in. I mean, are NFTs the gateway, right? I don't know. We'll see. I want to move on from President Trump's NFTs to some more concerning news regarding the largest bank in crypto, Silvergate, is facing a class action lawsuit over FTX and Alameda dealings. The suit aims to hold Silvergate accountable for its alleged roles in placing FTX users' deposits into the bank accounts of Alameda. According to the lawsuit, the plaintiff invested his savings in crypto through FTX as the platform promised investors that they were able to store assets securely as they gained in value, cash them out, or trade them for other assets. The lawsuit also alleges that Silvergate aided and abetted FTX's fraudulent activities and the exchange's breaches of fiduciary duty through improper transfers, lending user funds, and commingling funds. What are your general thoughts on this, Forrest? So Silvergate is, I believe, the largest Bitcoin crypto, essentially, bank that either gets, money is moved through or stored in. Should they be held liable? Is this something where they should have alerted authorities and say, hey, guys, FTX's customer funds are being diverted to Alameda Research? Is that, are they culpable in this scenario?
Be 100% honest, as I am not a lawyer, I have no clue.
What's your opinion?
Instinct,
Should they be?
Yeah. Gut check instinct. It's like, should they have reported it? Yes. Should they be culpable and be held accountable? I don't know that they should. I genuinely don't know how all that works behind the scenes. I want to say yes, they should have raised the red flag and raised the alarm bell sooner, and it's sad that they didn't. But at the same time, how much of, once I don't know how that relationship works. Like once the money is moved and deposited into Alameda, is that their responsibility anymore? Or is it, are they just fulfilling a service or request that FTX has requested and they don't need to be responsible for what FTX is doing and how FTX is managing the money? I see both sides of it. I really do. And I think from a ethical standpoint, they probably should have raised alarm bells. That probably should have been obvious that, hey, this money is going into Alameda, not FTX. But should they be responsible for it? I genuinely don't know. And if they are held responsible, bad news is this probably very bad for crypto as a whole. It's probably not a good thing if Silvergate blows up,
I agree.
further than it already has.
Rob, what are your thoughts? Should Silvergate be liable for not reporting the money moving from FTX customers to Alameda? They're being sued, saying they aided and abetted FTX. Is it their responsibility, or should they have done?
Yeah, the very last last thing you added there on that question, is it their responsibility? It's not their responsibility.
No. Okay. Well,
No,
banks.
they-
okay. When someone goes in, let's say for a week in a row, I go in and I deposit $9,500 every single day, $10,000 every single day, 5 days. The bank will alert it, and and if they want to look into it, they will.
I understand.
Silvergate is a bank.
But that's in an industry that's highly regulated, and nothing was regulated. Nothing was required when it came to FTX, and that's the reason it all blew up. Is that there was no accounting, there was no chief financial officer, there was nobody with a finance degree. There was nothing done in the finance sector there, which is the norm, unfortunately, as far as the requirements for transparency and accounting when it comes to a crypto exchange. And so what is Silvergate supposed to do? Extra work out of the kindness of their heart? I understand after the fact, you can look back and be like, yeah, we probably should have said something. But at the time, there were just transactions are moving in the same way that millions of transactions move. Silvergate has got their hands in like almost every large exchange.
Yeah.
And so do you actually think they're keeping track of where each wallet address, who owns what wallet address, and how many of these transactions are they supposed to be going over there?
But the volume,
they don't know their user agreement. They don't know that.
But that volume, I don't know, man.
I understand. It's one of those hindsight things. Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer there. But, do you think Silvergate was even suspicious of what was going on? Probably not. They probably just see the second largest exchange at the time, FTX, moving millions of dollars every day from one wallet to another. And I think that at face value, it seemed normal. Now, when regulation does come down the pipeline and you have to account for these transactions after, no matter what, that's coming. I'm telling you, that is coming. And when that comes, then we'll have a different conversation. But I don't think that the liability falls on Silvergate. All they're doing is facilitating transactions, and their job as of right now is not to figure out what is the intent, or should they be moving around from there or from this wallet to another. I think it's a big ask. I think Silvergate has tons of money. I think they'll squash any lawsuit. Perhaps they'll settle, or perhaps they'll just
if this lawsuit goes through, that company probably is going to go under. I want to know what the chat thinks.
No way. There's no way that
they're already under fire, bro.
There's no way that they'll be held liable for all of the funds.
Like they're providing a service. It's almost like if you're a car salesman and you sell a car to a criminal who then uses that car in a bank robbery, is the car salesman held liable because he aided and abetted that bank robbery by selling the getaway car? It's like, where does the relationship end, and where does the response I know that's kind of a crappy analogy, but it's like, where does the relationship end of responsibility for somebody else's business and company?
Yeah, because they were using FTX was using Silvergate as just the liquidity provider, And now, is it the liquidity
The on and
provider?
off ramp.
Yeah, but essentially, in an exchange version, the liquidity provider, and that's how you bring your cash in and out. And the money that moves around, it's not their responsibility to trace it.
I want to know what the chat thinks. Let's do a poll, guys. Let's create a poll. Should Silvergate be held liable to some extent? Yes or no? We're going to create a poll. Make sure to vote. Before we get into the charts, one more thing I want to cover. This is pretty interesting to me, and I'm curious to get your guys' takes. So this whole proof of reserves movement that happened after FTX was championed by CZ. All these exchanges rushed to get proof of reserves, proof of audits. Well, two of the biggest ones in the crypto space are no longer doing audits anymore. One being Mazars, which did Binance's, and two being Armonino, who did Nexos. I believe they did Crypto.coms or whatever. But crypto exchange Binance has seen its proof of reserve audits removed from the Mazars website. On December 16th, Bloomberg also reported that Mazars stopped doing proof of reserve audits for crypto companies. Other auditing firms, such as FTX's auditor Armonino, have also reportedly stopped working with crypto exchanges like OKX and Gate.io. This is a quote. A Binance spokesperson told Cointelegraph, Mazars has indicated that they will temporarily pause their work with all of their crypto clients globally, which include Crypto.com, KuCoin, and Binance. And then this tweet as well. Binance's auditor just quietly nuked the website containing Binance's proof of reserves. Okay. Now, there has been a lot of, we call it FUD, a lot of noise around Binance and whether they're insolvent, too much money in BNB and blah, 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 blah. It just seems weird. Do you have any theories or any ideas?
I gotta say that this literally is the same principle that we just talked about in our last article. The same theory is moving over here. And so the same way that Silvergate is under lawsuit and has potential liabilities, at least in the eyes of the court system right now, civil court. And that's because they are providing a service. And their service, they didn't do their due diligence, right? Essentially. Now, you can make an argument whether it's a responsibility or not, but people are saying, hey, you should have been held accountable. Same thing is happening here. You have these companies that are coming in and auditing the order books. They don't have all the information. They don't have the liabilities, and the waters are murky right now, and everything's been called into question. And so if your business model is to provide the proof of reserve system, what happens when that system doesn't, when your proof of reserve system doesn't add up for whatever reason? It doesn't add up because you don't have all the wallet addresses, you don't have the liabilities, you don't account for leverage, and a company were to go under, or perhaps the books were called into question and they see that, hey, the audit didn't mean crap. And so the companies are just fleeing. They're like, yeah, we don't want no part of this. This is going to stain our reputation if something negative comes out, whether an exchange collapses, whether, the audit gets, further investigated and it seems that it is not accurate.
So you're saying a company that generates revenue from a service,
they don't want
going to cut that revenue out because even though they did their job,
didn't that's the exact same sentence we were saying about Silvergate. Silvergate was doing a job, and now they're catching flack because their service is now people are holding them accountable, even though they had nothing to do with it. The same kind of premise, right? You have these auditors are like, yo, we don't want to touch this because when this thing blows up, people are going to point the finger at us. Silvergate they had nothing to do with that crap. Now people are pointing a finger and wanting money from them. So it's no different. It's the same thing. Right now, these exchanges, I'm sorry, right now, they're in a bad spot. Nobody wants to touch them, man. We don't want to keep our money in there. We don't know what the hell the regulators are going to do. We don't know what the proof of reserve even looks like. There's no standard for that anyways. I'm just saying that, like, nobody wants to touch exchanges, not even auditors.
Where do you land on this, Forrest?
Yeah, I'd agree. I think I think that auditing crypto is extraordinarily hard, and I don't know that anybody's there quite yet. At least I've been reading some material that would suggest that. Like early on in the early like internet days, the auditors were kind of building the infrastructure to actually be able to audit people and companies as they were going. So like being able to, like, if you're an auditor for Binance or another centralized exchange, a lot of times you're building the processes and infrastructure on the fly here. And it's being able to prove that you being able to show reserves is one thing. Being able to prove that you actually own those reserves is another thing. You have to prove that you actually have access to those wallets. And that's the process for doing that. I mean, you could show them the private keys, but that's no good. Or you could run, test transactions and so show, hey, I have the private keys for these wallets. You can't, it's like, and then the other thing is, it's, proof of reserves does not necessarily directly equate to proof of solvency. So the same
point.
thing that we saw with FTX. I'm sorry.
I was saying, great point.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Like the same thing can apply to what we saw with FTX. We saw FTX at one point, like their balance sheet looked extraordinarily healthy in terms of like dollar value, but as soon as FTX started plummeting, a lot of their assets were in FTT token. It's very difficult to know exactly how much exposure, asset in terms of assets and liabilities, that Binance has in BNB token and other various tokens that may drop in value. So yeah, proof of reserves can look great, but you can have like solvency issues. And I would agree with Robin. I don't think that Mazars or these other auditing firms want to get caught up in a very difficult job. And if for whatever reason there is something shady going on with CZ or Binance, or it does blow up, they don't want to have their name attached to that. So I don't necessarily blame them, but I don't. I err on the side of caution. Like I'm not keeping any money on centralized exchanges right now beyond what I'm looking, trading on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. There's very, very small amount, and it's ready to be moved off at a moment's notice. That being said, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I think, my gut here and based on the fact that I don't think we have really, really substantial hard evidence that would suggest that Binance is insolvent. Right, we've got some shaky interviews with CZ where it's like nobody wants to go down there. Like there's people talking about this CZ interview, like nobody wants to even acknowledge the fact that a $2.1 billion clawback could even happen. So I don't blame him for dodging that question one bit. I would do the same thing. I don't want to acknowledge that's even a possibility. You're not getting $2.1 billion back from me. I don't think that Binance is necessarily at a major risk yet. Now, if crypto drops again and even more stress is put on the system, maybe. But again, err on the side of caution. There's no reason to risk it.
Amen to that. I always say, even if it's someone's offering you 9-10% interest, preservation of capital over gains at the current moment.
Also want to preserve the like button because there's not enough of it. We have less than 100
preserving
likes.
that stupid sign, though, I'll tell you that. Yes, but like the video.
It's a like button, man. Come on.
Idiot.
What y'all doing?
Forrest, would you like to put a pre-order in for one of these like button signs, Robin? We'll make one for you.
Oh, yeah.
Only $5.99.
Yeah.
Can we get this on the merch store?
We'll give
like
you a
button?
discount, though. $4.99 for you, my friend.
Perfect.
Forrest, let's jump into the charts. So we saw some volatility over the last couple of days. Fed interest rate hike, 50 basis points. I'm sure you have some macro stuff to show us. Bitcoin went down. Well, not went down, but Bitcoin is under 17K. Yeah, I'll just kind of leave it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get the charts pulled up here. Hopefully you guys can see this all right. So the story recently has really been in the legacy market. We can cover the legacy market briefly, and we can dive into Ether, Bitcoin afterwards if we've got time. But this is a chart that I was showing, I believe, last week. This is the New York Stock Exchange new highs minus the new lows. And historically, let me actually pull up the S&P 500 on a new price scale here. And historically, what we see is the S&P 500 usually bottoms whenever we recover the zero level. Whenever this trend is recovered and more stocks are making new highs than are making new lows. We see this time and time again. And you get a very clean downtrend level and then a break, and then we start printing days where more new highs are coming in than new lows. And we had recently seen this pattern break. However, this week we've fallen back below this trend line. So right now we're straddling this trend line. I'd obviously like to see us recover this next week. It's Friday at 2:30 p.m. and the S&P 500 is sitting down, 1.62% on the day. So we'll see if this recovers. But I also do want to draw attention to the fact, and this is something that I did post in the Discord, if I can find it, just a second, in the general chat, I believe I posted it. This tweet. Today is a massive day for options expiration. So this day only comes 4 times each year in the market. Quadruple witching day is here. Stock index options expire, stock options expire, stock index futures expire, and single stock futures expire. So we would actually really expect a lot of volatility and actually a lot of long positions winding down. So I'm going to cut over to the S&P 500 here. A lot of long positions winding down over the last 2 days. Why would that be? Because over the last month and over the last quarter, it's been up. Right? So this is potentially not panic selling. And again, we're speculating here, but this is potentially not panic selling. This is potentially profit taking in the closing of positions after a large bounce back. So why is that important? Well, it means that we could, and this is what my base case is. My base case is that we put in bullish divergence somewhere, wherever we bottom, wherever we catch a bid, and probably not going to catch a bid today. We've got like an hour and a half left until the market closes, but maybe futures pick up over the weekend. Monday comes back, we're fresh, and probably a retest of 3,900. Now, I do think that there is a good chance that this was our high and this begins a new leg down. And the levels that we're paying attention to retest would be down here around 3,700. Would obviously want that to hold because that would potentially put in an inverse head and shoulders and allow us to push up higher. Otherwise, if we make new lows, it's obviously not good. And what everybody's worried about is this, where we just spill off and it looks similar to what it looked like in 2008 and 2009. Right? Or actually, from a fractal perspective, which I'm not a huge fan of fractals, but from a fractal perspective, this looks very similar to what we saw before the crash in 2007, 2008. We also have our 21-week simple moving average here in blue. Hopefully you guys can see that okay, which we've come and retested multiple times. And a lot of times, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen every single time, but a lot of times, once you've held some support on top of the 21-week simple moving average, or you've temporarily reclaimed it, and then you move back below it, you come back underneath for a retest. Right? You come back underneath for a retest. We saw that over here. We actually got a day or two above it, and then started plummeting below it. We saw it, multiple times over here, where we came back for a retest underneath it, got rejected, came back for a retest, tested it twice, got rejected, and went further down. So again, my base case is that we retest this 21-week simple moving average, and I do think that there is a possibility, right? A possibility that we do actually reclaim it and start to retest this downtrend line again. Again, I'd say my base case is probably a failure of it, and then coming back down to test these lows over here around $3,700. That would be what I expect to happen. But I don't think it's out of the question that we actually come back up to retest this downtrend line, given the fact that, hey, this is volatility due to options and futures closing today. Maybe we run it back. And because we actually spent, what was different about this time when we reclaimed the 21-week simple moving average is a couple of things. One is that we got 2 really fast subsequent retests of the downtrend line, but we also spent significant time above the 21-week simple moving average, whereas these prior times it was very brief. It was a pop up above and then right back below, a pop up above, right back below. Here we actually consolidated above, right? So if we can reclaim the 21-week simple moving average as early as next week, things actually start looking fairly decent again. The other reason I think the base case here is a retest of this $3,900 level is because we're almost certainly, we're not guaranteed, nothing's guaranteed, but we're almost certainly going to print bullish divergence on the daily. What I mean by that is if we look from this point over here on November 4th or so, November 3rd, November 4th, this last low, and we trace that same point from the RSI, our RSI is already lower than what we were over here. So our RSI is already reset down to 40.72, which is lower than it was over here. So as long as we catch a bid, and this is actually a support region that I've got mapped out here in the yellow, but we've got additional support all the way down to 3,700 or so. If we catch a bid anywhere in this region before making a new low, we print and RSI starts picking up again, even if it just pops up a little bit, we will have essentially printed bullish divergence. So we have to spill off another 3.55% or so to actually not put in without catching a bid, which is entirely possible. But we have to spill off 3.5% without catching a bid to actually, start closing this downtrend in RSI below the previous RSI. So it looks incredibly likely to me like we'll probably catch a bid next week after this kind of profit taking exasperation of the exasperation in price action that we're seeing due to futures and options closing today, which is resulting in what I believe to be closing of positions in profit. So I don't think it's as bad as it looks, and maybe I'll eat my words and this is the big one and we really start accelerating to the downside. I think that's what everybody's worried about. But again, it's like that is the exception, not the rule. At any given point in terms of price action, right? You never expect like a lot of people are always weary of they think this move is right around the corner, and it could be right around the corner. We could be in the middle of it right now. This is the 2007, 2008 crash. It could be right around the corner. But if you're constantly worried about that move being right around the corner, right, all the time, you're worried for potentially no reason, or it does happen and we recover rather quickly. If you even look at the last couple of drops we've actually recovered rather quickly. And S&P 500 as of a couple of days ago was only down 15% on the year, which is terrible S&P 500 performance, but it's not horrible, especially if you're used to the drawdowns in crypto. I'm not trying to be overly bullish here, but I'm also not of the opinion that we need to necessarily be, the people that are constantly, or I don't want to be the person that's constantly driving home imminent crash, imminent crash, imminent crash. Although we could see an imminent crash, I think the most likely scenario is, we're going to have some volatility, but we'll probably catch some support here. More than likely, we'll have opportunities to de-risk. And don't get me wrong, as said on my live streams, 20%. This is a great place to take 20% off the table. De-risk at the 21-week simple moving average and the downtrend line, because that's resistance, and you expect that resistance is going to knock us back down. Overall, I'm happy to jump into crypto a little bit, or look at any charts in particular that anybody wants to peek at. But
can we let's take a peek at Bitcoin? Bitcoin did rally up to 18,100 and then just came right back down. What like levels are you seeing in the very near term? Do you think end of the year, maybe people worried about, harvesting tax losses, saying, all right, if I take this sell my Bitcoin now, I can save a lot of money on the back end on write some stuff off of my taxes. What are you kind of seeing moving into the end of the year? And what levels should we be watching out for?
I don't think tax loss selling is going to be as big, because I think just the fact in all markets, we're so far down that, most people already have, realized losses for the year. Very few people, I think, are up on the year overall. So I think, very few people are going to be having to worry about selling, rotating or washing, essentially their crypto. Could it be a factor? Yes, absolutely. Or in the last two weeks of the year. So I'm sure some people will have that situation arise, but it's not like we're up, 3, 4, 5x on the year, and people are trying to wash the last, the last little, correction here. This is where we were last December over here. It's not like everyone's trying to take losses on the last little 5, 10% move down or 20% move down, which accelerates, further to the downside. Most people have losses. So the levels that I'm looking at are 16.8K. The level that we're actually on is a pretty decent support level to consider buying. given the fact that we're probably going to print bullish divergence on S&P 500, and I would expect some sort of a retest, I don't think this is a horrible level to buy for a short-term trade. And these are margin pressure levels. This is essentially, I'll give a brief explanation on them. It's showing us that, hey, you can't short a Bitcoin on leverage, in this case 2x leverage, not 3x. It says 3x, but it's 2x leverage, and hide your liquidation point above this local high. And that's incredibly important. Why? Because if we get a bear market rally, it's very realistic for Bitcoin to come up here and test 25K. And I'm not saying we're going to get a bear market rally, but there's always the threat of the tides shifting. And the shorts don't want to be exposed with their liquidation points down here. They want to keep their liquidation points nice and tidy upper at 25.2K. And that reduces the incentive to sell short at this level. And it's why once we reclaim this level, or once we did reclaim it, it's acted as support pretty perfectly. It's acted as support. So yeah, that's what we're seeing right now. If we hold this level, that'd be great. And we'll probably catch a little bit of a bounce. Again, is it, the end all be all level that's going to absolutely hold? We'll see. It's a strong level, but it's not necessarily the strongest. I will say after a large capitulation, you'll oftentimes see this where you've capitulated below a key level, and then once you recover it, it does turn into support before you get a larger trend upwards. And we really haven't had, I don't think we've seen that larger trend upwards. Again, I think it'll depend on what the S&P 500 does. There's some fundamental stuff going on with Bitcoin miners and potential Bitcoin miner capitulation that actually make me a little bit more bearish on Bitcoin and the overall crypto market right now. But we saw this over here where we actually accelerated through that level. Hold on, I'll drag these over a notch off of this most recent high. And actually, I think these might have been off of that high, if I'm not mistaken. Potentially was off of that guy, if I can find it.
This is the daily chart, right, Forrest?
This is the daily chart, yep.
That was a massive head and shoulder there. Jeez.
Yeah, maybe it was a long level. There we go. So regardless, we blew through this support level, and then we held it twice, and then we started moving up. And that's actually a pattern to keep an eye on. Ethereum did that same thing. But whenever you get a pattern, and I don't know exactly what it's necessarily called, you get a big capitulation and you make a wick down, and then double bottom after that. That's usually means you're going back up. Again, that's something to keep in mind that we're not seeing it right now. At least I'm not seeing it right now, but that's a common bottoming pattern. It's like a double bottom after a capitulation wick moves into a rally. But yeah, we're seeing this 16.8K level hold. Now everyone's wanting to buy at 12.6K. I do want to go back in time on Bitcoin and, for, Ethereum's, something similar. Look, I think that there is a potential capitulation on the table, but so many people are hungry to buy 12K and have been predicting 12K for so long that I do think that if we see a capitulation down to 12K, it'll probably be relatively short-lived. And I know I could get in trouble kind of saying that if we end up grinding down to 12K and staying down there for a long period of time. But I think we're at the point where we're probably towards the bottom of our range for the bear market. And anything below here is probably, in my opinion, going to end up being a deviation. And I think it's really tough because we've had more black swans than we ever really could have predicted. I know in hindsight, they become very clear and very obvious. But when Bitcoin was up here, nobody was predicting an FTX collapse. No one was predicting, or few people were predicting a Terra Luna collapse, which a lot of people didn't realize, myself included, just how much contagion that would cause. But there's a really good argument to be made that anything below 18K is potentially a deviation. And if not anything below 18K, anything below where we've recently found a bottom would potentially be a shorter term deviation. Take a trip down to 10 to 12K and then recover that 16 to 18K level relatively quickly. So look, these trends go on for a long period of time. And I was talking about this earlier with actually my dad, and that for markets to move, you need a reason to buy or a reason to sell. And what you find towards the end of trends is that psychologically, that reason to buy or sell starts becoming more and more emotionally based. At the top, it becomes more and more greed based. Why are you buying Bitcoin at $55, $60, $65,000? Because you're getting greedy. There's not necessarily a reason to buy it, right? When you're buying it at 10 to 12K, we're like, okay, it's 4 years outside of it. It's more of a logical reason, less emotional reason, right? At this point in time, sellers are getting exhausted, in my opinion. Again, I do think we could go lower, but sellers are getting exhausted. And the reason behind selling is becoming less and less logical and more emotional. And that to me is a sign that a bottom could be clear or could be close. Now, again, there's the X or the Y, the vertical axis bottom, but then there's also the element of time. Right, we can come down here and just stick down here for a very long period of time before moving back up, and that can be in and of itself, pretty exhausting as well for people who want the market to go up, like ourselves. But I think there is a logical reason for people to be selling Bitcoin right now, and that's the fear of Bitcoin miner capitulation. But there's a logical reason, Binance FUD. But again, it's starting to get to the point where a lot of the reason people are worried about selling is because of price action, fear of price action moving lower. Just like at the top, it was fear of missing out, fear of price action moving higher. But at the end of the day, the logical levels behind these trends is that the risk reward on a move down is not that bad. It's actually the risk reward in terms of the overall chart. We're very extended to the downside. Just like there's very little reward potential. Like at best, if you're buying Bitcoin at 60K, 65K, at best, you're maybe squeezing out 80, 90, 100, 110K, less than a 2x return for taking a ton of risk on our, if we throw on our easy bands, there's a ton of risk. Like your upside potential here is like maybe 100K, and you're taking a ton of downside risk. Where same here, there's downside risk, but it's not nearly as bad as potential upside in future bull markets. So I do think this trend is getting a little bit exhausted, but we'll see how 2023 goes. I think 2023 is the year of survival and the year of diversification. I've been preaching diversification. I know I've been droning on for. I'll wrap it up here. Look, I think cash is king in a recession, but cash has risks. The dollar has risks. If Russia accepts gold for oil, what's that going to do to the dollar? What's that going to do to gold prices? What's that going to do to oil prices? As the world deglobalizes, there's more and more risk in any individual asset, and I think diversification is the strategy that a lot of people should consider here moving into 2023 and 2024.
That's a great.
I just think it's too risky to be over allocated to anything.
I agree, and like you said, usually cash in recessions, but inflation's so high that the value of the dollar, and like you said, if the petrodollar goes bye.
Yeah, cash is king, but there's something to be said for owning hard assets, even in a recession, and being able to buy those assets at a discount. And we're starting to see those discounts come in. We've seen the discounts in crypto. We're seeing it in real estate. The car market's getting shellacked. There's other stuff that's down overall, and we're starting to see the opportunities to buy these assets at discounts.
Awesome, man. Well, Forrest, as always bringing amazing info content. Thank you so much, guys. Go follow Forrest on Twitter at 0xstacker. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel, Crypto Stackers Pro. He goes live every single day at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Forrest, we appreciate you as always, my friend. Have an amazing weekend, and we will see you on Monday and next Friday.
So guys, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure. Peace.
Pleasure is ours, my friend. Take care.
All right, man. Was good info there, man. I do want to. I didn't want to cut off Forrest when he was speaking. But I do got to give some shout outs to the chat here. So we got some new people here with us today. If you are new, say hello so that we can drop an hola in the chat for you. Now we got Ultimate Finish, Yari Burke. We got Michael S, Amorianda, Jeremiah, Kelly, Derek. And we got Ryan C, Aru, Old Filthy, Linux, Kid, Digital Management, Livu, Mr. Bud, Bluff City Breaks. Hola! Welcome to
Bluff City, man. Bluff City, man.
Crypto.
10, 20s on them. All right, guys, go check out our social media at Sin City Crypto 1 is our Twitter handle. We're extremely active there. Also, join our community ran Discord. Also, the Don is making you an offer you cannot refuse. 10% off for everyone until Christmas on our merch store. You'll find Sin City merch, but also regular crypto merch as well. If you are a whale member, you get 15% off. Also, Robin, did you give a special hola to Diamond Hands Daryl?
I was just about to do that. Diamond's Hands Daryl. DHD. CCP.
That's the Chinese Communist Party. Don't say that.
Is that what CCP stands?
CCP
I
stands
just
for.
do some letters out there. My bad.
We got you, Diamond Hands. Don't worry, bro.
Oh,
I got
LA.
you.
Hola! Welcome. Sin City Crypto.
We love all of you. Thank you guys so much. With that being said, Kyler.
Kyler
The fast finger today.
Look,
The fast-
it's two of them.
Friends, family, friends and family, and family of friends. We thank you so much for ending your week here with us at Sin City Crypto. Make sure to tune in on Monday and every weekday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for our daily live show. On behalf of myself, Robin, the Don, Kyler Murray, you guys. We love you guys. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
Hi, guy. What up?
Hi, guy. I'm an owl guy. Speaking of owl guys, my son, when he was 3, he couldn't say alligator, he would say owl guy.
My wife's in Russian. You know what she calls crocodile?
Crocodilo. Crocodili. We got France or Argentina, real quick. France or Argentina? I want Messi to win.
France, of course.
You got France? France. Who's a better goalie? Loris or the other guy? All right, love you guys. See you later.